Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. As you might have noticed, I got myself a new lair. It's only temporary, so don't get used to it. You'll get back to the usual white wall soon enough. However, for now, while I am here, I have a special guest with me. Special guest, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Dario Aguilar Peregrina, the author of the Hurricane 7 saga, Brigade DXT, and the Three Wise Young Men.
Okay. Thank you for your introduction. I'm not sure what your book consists of or what you're talking about within your book. So before we get into some touchy topics, is there anything you do not want me to ask or talk about during this interview?
No, don't worry, you can ask everything.
Okay, nice to know that there's the Latin fire that makes you all open. Now, could you please restate the title of your work, of your book?
Okay, the first one is Hurricane 7. Hurricane 7.
Okay.
This is a saga, the story of a young Mexican lesbian Navy cadet protecting a young girl from a superpowered mercenary and her allies.
Okay.
And the story basically is a mix between science fiction and also drama, mature themes, and the situation that Mexico right now is living of insecurity, but with a mix of the Dark Knight and the Day After Tomorrow.
Okay. That's actually a great pitch. Like, it's got good language, good imagery, and yeah, it makes people curious. So, good word there. Is this the first book you've written?
Yes, I wrote the first book back in 2019,
Okay.
but the story of this saga comes when I was a 9 year old. Everything started when I was watching the news, and I remember there was the new hurricane season in Mexico.
Okay.
So I really got excited because the topic of the hurricanes, I really thought it was really interesting. So I had a dream that day because I just saw the movie The Day After Tomorrow by Roland Emmerich.
Okay.
And also, I was a big fan of Spider Man and Batman, Batman Begins of Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
And I had a dream that was me fighting a hurricane. So the next day, I wrote all the story, and then the news told this: the Hurricanes 2007 season is coming, and I was really excited because of that title, and I decided to put the same title in my books. So the story comes when I was a really young kid.
Okay. Well, that's that was very interesting. Thank you for the background. Is this your writing debut as well, or have you written short stories or poems before?
Well, Hurricanes was the first work, and then I got the opportunity to be as a columnist in a magazine called
Okay.
Hello Arte, a Latin Canadian magazine that showcases other Latin or American or British authors. So I got the opportunity to do other stories that I wanted to do, such as the Three Wise Young Men. The Three Wise Young Men is a story that is based on traditions from Latin America that is kind of a Santa Claus, but with a mix of magic. We have our own figures that bring us gifts. Santa brings gifts on December 25th, and the three wise men always bring gifts to the kids when is January 6th. So it's a tradition. So I wanted to put that, and also because I was a big fan of Tim Allen's Santa Claus, all
Okay.
trilogy. I loved those movies,
Yeah.
and also because I loved Doctor Strange and Marvel movies. So it was a mix of that.
Okay, that's very nice. No, I'm going back in my notes here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like to say I've done these interviews so often I know the questions inside and out, but that's not exactly the case. you've already spoken about what inspired you to create your debut, but I have to ask, what was your process? What was your thought process behind, you know, fleshing out your world and creating your characters? So, what did you what did you want to share with your readership when creating these elements?
Well, okay. Well, with Hurricane 7, I realized that I could combine the American world and the Latino world. So I wanted to do that. And because I wanted some Latino heroes, because I thought it was exciting. I thought it was really exciting. Also, for example, there's a character in my book called Marquinhos Jugadoreño Cravalho. This character was based mainly because I was a big fan of Brazilian pranks shows. So I wanted to have some comedy in my book, but at the same time I wanted to have some drama behind that.
Okay.
And that character is fleshed out with that. Other things that really inspired me, it's also who is going to play my characters. For example, in Hurricanes 2007, I have one character that is called Hosen Daisy Gallagher. Hosen Daisy Gallagher is a villain that is the best friend of the main villain of my story. And I picture Victoria Justice from Victorious as the villain.
Yeah.
So I really wanted that because I thought, okay, Victoria Justice always plays the same nice girl, and I wanted to do different. How about if she is this evil girl?
Yeah.
With a Mexican actress, and I thought it was really interesting. I thought that was really interesting. For example, other main villain, Caterina Fernandez, the main villain of the story. I picture Dana Paola. Dana Paola is a famous Mexican singer right now, and also you can watch her on Netflix. She was on a series called Elite. So basically, what was that? It was my imagination of things that was a lot in common in my country, and mixing that with the American setting, the British setting. Because as a kid, I always got the opportunity to see American British movies, especially from Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle, I think, was a big inspiration for me. So I really wanted to showcase that.
Okay. Well, you mentioned there are a lot of inspirations that go into your work. I imagine not. I imagine the synergy doesn't always pan out. So therefore, I have to ask: was there ever? Does your book have any deleted scenes or anything that you wanted to include but realized it doesn't fit, or it doesn't fit the story, or it would make no sense given how the world is set up that this thing or this character would exist?
Ooh, yes, there was many deleted scenes of Hurricane Innocent. For example, I wanted to have more comedy, but I realized that it wasn't working. It wasn't working really well, and I decided to delete that. For the Three Wise Young Men, I wanted more action, but at the same time, I wanted more like magic moments, no? Such as some spells or imagination, the holiday spirit, no? I wanted to put that. And for Brigade DXT, that is the book that I'm finishing right now, I wanted to put some other characters, but I decided it was the best to save them to the sequel. The sequel is going to be called Brigade DXT Worldwide. And it's because my love of the Olympic Games. And I don't know if you have seen the movie of Goal. Goal, it was a British movie by Danny Cannon. British-American movie that was the story of a young Mexican immigrant that gets to play in the Newcastle United team from the Premier League. And I really love that movie. So yes, there's many things that I got out from my stories, but sometimes I decide to best use them on other parts or other stories that I'm developing.
Okay. Next up, the flip side of this question: has there have you ever had any have you ever had any elements that you wanted to include that you didn't, that you were initially opposed to including, but then decided that they actually fit with your world, or work better within it? Or is there anything that, or extending this idea a little bit further, was there anything that that really surprised you, and it made you go, yes, this absolutely needs to be in the story?
Well, especially it was mainly because of my dreams. Uh, for example, in Hurricane Scenario 7, I had this dream that I told you that was me fighting a hurricane that could transform into a human. So I really put that into the story, and I couldn't stop picturing that image. For Brigade DXT, I always picture putting music like from Maroon 5, from Ariana Grande, from Latino singers
Yep.
that mix the different cultures of the characters. For example, my characters are from Japan, from United States, and from France. From France. So I wanted to mix that. So I always, as I told you, I try to picture what is going to be the story, like a movie,
Yes.
and then start writing.
Okay.
In Spanish, it's a little bit more easier because I can put a lot of things.
Yeah.
In English, I think it's a little bit more complicated because I need to be a little bit more precise so the audience can catch the
Yeah.
message immediately.
Okay, I understand. You said you're interested more in cultural fusion, or trying to bring all of these elements of different cultures together. Did you ever look? Did you, for reference, look at other examples of cultural fusion, like J-rock or J-rap or K-pop, or anything along those lines?
Of course, of course. For example, Hurricane Studio 7 has this mix between American rock music,
Yeah.
like Skillet, like, I don't know, 12 Stones,
Okay.
many other bands.
So yeah,
Mix it with, uh-huh,
so yeah,
well,
I know the style you have in mind, and you mix it with.
uh-huh, mix it with Mexican music.
Okay.
Also, in the Three Wise Young Men, I combine American and British and Mexican music. But in this case, also Arabian music and other kinds of European music. In Brigade DXT, it's a mix between all cultures.
Yeah.
I love J-pop because I
Yeah.
love anime, and I wanted to mix that.
Okay. Next question. It could be a two-parter, but I decided to have it as a one-parter instead. What is your favorite thing to write, and what is your least favorite thing to write?
My favorite thing to write, it is a genre or the way of writing. I don't understand that.
Maybe particular story elements that you enjoy developing
Okay.
or playing with.
The things that I really love to develop is action-packed stories.
Okay.
And the one that I don't like too much, but is really not too much, it's dramatic moments. Dramatic moments, I think, are very difficult, and I wanted to put more action, more emphasis on action. So I really love more of that.
Okay. When you say you want your stories to be action-packed, do you do you have a measure for that? Something like there should be an action sequence every 3 chapters, or do you just go free flow? Like if there's an action scene, then I'll if an action scene is brewing, then an action scene is happening.
Well, I normally put like this. First, we present the characters, we present the situation, and then we can put them on an action sequence.
Okay.
Then another chapter is about how the characters are feeling, what is happening, how are they reacting to things, and then another action scene. So I want to put some space between action scenes so the public can love the scenes and don't get overwhelmed by that.
Okay. And I assume the space between action scenes is not always the same.
No, it's not always the same. I always normally try to put it on different parts so the people can enjoy that.
Have you ever tried to write? Okay, now I'm thinking more like a director and then staging. Have you ever tried to write staggered action scenes or something, or is there a sequence that takes place in various different places at the same time, which you present in, for example, different chapters? Or do you have any action scenes that go explore bigger distances and bigger spaces and maybe bigger spans of time?
Yes, normally it's like this. Sometimes I'm putting a scene of the characters fighting the villain, no?
Okay.
And other scenes are the other characters fighting the other menace. For example, in my third book, Hurricane 7, The Virus of Extermination, that was really inspired by the movie 28 Days Later.
Yep.
I wanted to put the first scene is the main character versus the new villain. And in the other scene, I wanted to put the other supporting characters versus the zombies, or as I call them in my story, the infected hurricanes. So I really wanted to put that, and I thought it was great. So I like to do those kind of scenes.
Okay, I like that very much. Next up, I think the publishing questions are actually next. And okay, yes, I am. These you already shown me a copy of Hurricanes 2007. Is it traditionally published, self-published, or indie?
Well, in this case, it was self-published because in my country, I remember sending my story to many different editorials, and they told me the story was great, everything was great, but at the end of the day, they didn't talk that the story was going to do well in my country, because my country right now is more based on stories that are really depressing, I think. But in the United States and other countries, they really received well my story, and they told me, okay, you need to do some fixing in your writing, because my writing, I'm not a native English speaker, I'm Latino, so I really didn't know how to write some things. The first book, if you want to see, in Amazon, there's a review, I remember, that told me, okay, this book is really interesting, but I nearly dropped out because in some cases the writing was too overwhelming. So it was a really great critic to me. So I decided to write better on the next books. And that was the case. So I decided to self-publish, but fortunately now in my country and other Latin countries, my story has already come to other parts. So many people are hearing more about Hurricane 207 and now the 3 Weeks Journey.
Okay. And the mouse fell perfectly. Never mind. Next up. I don't know if have you tried traditional publishing, or did you just go? No, actually, wait. You said you did, and it and then pan out. So I have to ask, from your endeavors, did any of the ideas you had about either traditional publishing or self-publishing, have any of them been proven true or false?
In what sense? Sorry. Again, I didn't understand the question.
Let's say you had an idea about what traditional publishing is like, and maybe another idea about what self-publishing would be like. Has your idea about traditional publishing been proven true?
Yes or no. For example, traditional publishing, of course, is the best option because you had an agency that is behind you, that is helping you with the promoting, the marketing, and everything else.
Okay.
But at the same time, I'm seeing that these big editorials are not really supporting the new talent. On some cases,
Yeah.
I could be wrong. No? In the case of self-publishing, I think your story comes faster, but sometimes, as a newbie writer, you make some mistakes. But at the end of the day, if you really work hard and promote well your book, you maybe get a chance. For example, in my case, I promoted Hurricane 7 on Twitter with some paragraphs, with some those writer lips that in that moment worked. Right now, I'm not really a big fan of that, because sometimes some people are spamming you, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
But that thing really helped me to meet other writers, that told me, okay, your story is really great, and we would like to help you. This organization was called Queer Indie. Queer Indie is an organization from the United States that supports indie writers. I really recommend that to you. They were really nice, and they really supported me. And then I met other writers from different parts of the world, and we started helping each others. And right now we are, I think, developing a new boom here in Latin America, Hispanic America, for new young writers like me, and many other writers I really want to showcase. For example, to your public and all that are interested, I have a radio program called Actual Literature, or Literatura Actual in Spanish, that I showcases new talents from the literature world, independently of where are they where are they coming. So if you want to share your story or a paragraph, I don't know, I can read it for free on Latin Canadian radio. Or also I have a working relationship with one of my mentors. She's from Canada, and she really supported me. Call it Hello Arte. Hello Arte is a program that where we interview other writers, other people, and also we organize a lot of events. The last two days we had an Arts International Congress with other writers, and on December we're going to have a virtual book fair. If you are interested in participating with your books, or I don't know, you want to showcase your work, the door is open, and that's it. It's the only thing I want to say.
Okay. Well, you've said quite a bit, actually. Not that I'm complaining. I'm actually glad for everything you said. So I have to ask. I'm sure you have received some level of reception so far. You did in fact comment a bit on how people received it, and what their reactions to these books were. What I mean to ask was, what have you been able to learn from from these reactions?
What I learned, well, the first thing I think is writing better, improving my writing, without a doubt. And the other thing I really learned is that there are many good people there that are willing to help you, even if they are not paying you, they are willing to help you to showcase your work. In this case, I really want to thank Halo Scott, Titi Banks, Mario Delolio, AC Miracle, and all queer indie staff that really supported me back in 2019, and my friend Stacy Hawks from the Writing World podcast from Allegheny, North Carolina, and other people that really helped me in my journey as a writer. And right now, well, I'm having a good time writing the things I really love. And that's it. I think that's the message.
Okay. Next question. we'll be done soon enough, but that's that's a separate matter. How many of the people you would consider close know about your writing efforts, and how did they respond to
Well,
that? So friends,
well,
family.
the first people that knew about my writing was my mom. My mom was always supporting me when since I was a child. My grandpa, he was a poet.
Okay.
He really inspired me. My aunt, she was a teacher on elementary school, so she really inspired me to write better. And my friends also reacted well to my writing, and many people have supported me. They were a bit surprised at first because they thought, okay, you have wrote this big saga, and you really wanted to showcase to the world. So it's like that. Many people have supported me, and they have reacted really well.
Okay. I'm uh, I'm very glad for you. Okay, next up, uh, ha- has working on your book so far showed you anything that you plan to do differently with your other books?
Of course. For example, Jonathan, in Hurricanes 2007-1, I wrote really long sentences and really long paragraphs that the audience didn't like that so much. And at the end, and the second part, I decided to change that. And in the third part, I even improved that.
Okay.
In the Three Wise Young Men, also like that. And I also told to myself, if your story only can expand to 100 pages, it's okay. You don't really need to write 300 pages of nothing.
Yeah.
It's best to write the best short story that you can do instead of creating a 300 book that you really didn't understand. So I really want to do stories like this.
Okay. Uh, Next question. Of every question you've heard me ask of you so far, is there any you would want me to answer?
Um, no, well, again, Jonathan, as I told your public and everyone that is seeing this, that will see this interview, again, I have a radio program and I have my friend that is interviewing many people. If you are
Okay.
interested or showcase it, your work, or I don't know, suggest other people, you
Yeah.
can do it. Just DM me on my Twitter or in Instagram,
Okay.
and we can appoint as an interview for you.
I might consider that. Okay. Then allow me to give you an alternate question. Is there anything you would want? Is there any question you would want me to answer? Not just in general. It 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 would ideally be writing related though.
A question that I really want you to answer. No, Jonathan, I'm sorry, I don't really have one question. I really
I
I think the questions were really
Okay.
really really precise and didn't go to any detail. I didn't get uh, I didn't got questions from you that were uncomfortable or I don't know. They were
Okay.
really good.
Thanks. Uh, Next up, before we close out, is there any particular link either to some of your work or to the works of others that you would want to shout out or highlight or in general uh, where you think people should visit?
Okay. Well, first of all, the first thing is people you need to follow Queer Indie. Queer
Okay.
Indie, as I told you, is an organization that supports indie writers. The second one is the Writing Wall podcast from Stacy Hawks.
Okay.
She also promotes indie writers or published or traditional published authors. Hello Arte, where I come from. Um, Also, I would like to say the Arte y Letras from a Mexican friend of mine, Alberto
Okay.
Dumas. And also, I would like to showcase Bright Hype. Bright Hype right now is having an Indie Ink Awards. Indie Ink Awards are a prize that is really exciting for me because I got in the semifinals. So I would like you to support me, people, if you want. Please vote on the Indie Ink Awards for Hurricane Studio 7 Saga. We are nominated in a lot of categories, but I would like more your support on the category of Writing the Future We Need, Latin representation via Latin author. That's pretty much.
Okay, noted. I will. I'll put all the necessary links in the description below. And well, all I can say is thank you for your time. Thanks for showing up.
Thank you, Jonathan, for the opportunity. And guys, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as Dario Aguilar Peregrina, or my nickname Hurricane Dario.
Okay. Thank you once again, Dario, and thank you to everyone who has been watching for your attention. If you've enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and maybe even share it wherever you think other people will like it as well. If you have anything you'd like to add to anything any of us have said, the comment section awaits your input. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. Ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you. My own debut work, Heir to the Empire: The Next Generation, is available at most major book retailers under a master link in the description down below. Right past my social media, which is right past everything Dario recommended and talked about. And I suggest you check all of those out, should you feel so inclined. Until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.
See you.